In a story of ambition, love, and betrayal, Alex must decide. Is money worth risking everything he holds dear, or will this marriage of convenience cost him far more than he's prepared to pay? Can love be bought, or will the price of this deal cost him everything he holds dear? Dive into The Unwanted Husband, where every choice leads to unexpected consequences and the line between right and wrong blurs into a thrilling, suspense-laden narrative you won't be able to put down. One choice, 3 months, a lifetime of consequences. The story, The Unwanted Husband, a tale of love, betrayal, and ambition. Episode 1. Juliana Edwards sat on the edge of her king-size bed, brushing her long, dark hair while staring at her ex-boyfriend, Kevin, who lay lazily under the silk sheets. The air was thick with a mix of lingering perfume and unspoken tension. She stood abruptly, slipping into her designer robe as Kevin watched her, a smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Let's get married," she said bluntly, fastening the sash of her robe. Kevin raised an eyebrow, the smirk fading into confusion. "Excuse me? You want to get married? Now, after all these years?" He gestured vaguely at the disheveled state of the bed. She turned to him, her expression cool and detached. "Yes, I'll pay you if you want. Let's just do it for 2 months, or 3, and no strings, no drama." Kevin laughed, but the sound was hollow. "So we're not getting married out of love, huh? Just a business transaction." What happened to the love we had for each other? Juliana gave him a small, dismissive smile. "Love," she echoed, a sharp edge in her tone. "You're very funny. I don't need love. I told you from the beginning. I need convenience. It makes you feel better. You can call it whatever you want. In your heart you know that this is a trade." Kevin pushed himself up on one elbow, staring at her with a mix of disbelief and frustration. "You're really something, you know that? You think I'm with you because of your father's money. And is it not?" she said, crossing her arms. "Is there any other reason you love me if not for the money? Be honest, Kevin." The silence that followed was answer enough. Kevin opened his mouth, then closed it, his expression turning hard. Without waiting for his response, Juliana grabbed her phone from the dresser and strode out of the room. A few weeks later, Juliana found herself in a heated argument with the manager of a luxury car dealership. The Mercedes-Benz she had recently purchased was sitting in her driveway, refusing to start, and she wasn't in the mood to deal with incompetence. "I'll send my best technician," the manager had assured her over the phone. When the technician finally arrived, Juliana was in no mood for pleasantries. From the balcony of her sprawling estate, she watched as a young man drove into the compound in a modest work van. She rang the bell to open the gates, her irritation growing by the second. By the time Alex stepped out of his van, dressed in a crisp uniform and carrying a diagnostic kit, Juliana was already marching toward him. "Why didn't you come with the tow truck?" she snapped, glaring at him. Alex looked up, calm and composed. "Good afternoon, ma'am. I need to check the car first to determine if it's a company fault or a customer issue." She scoffed. "Are you insane?" Throwing the car remote at him. "I don't care whose fault it is. If you don't take this car out of my house and tell your useless company to refund my money, I will destroy it and you will pay for it." Alex remained unflustered, meeting her fiery gaze with steady eyes. "Ma'am, I haven't even assessed the issue yet. Would you like to tell me what seems to be the problem?" Juliana crossed her arms, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "It doesn't start. Is that specific enough for you?" "That's strange," Alex said, stepping closer to the car. Her eyes narrowed. "Are you calling me a liar?" Alex ignored her accusation and unlocked the car with the remote. "Could you put your fingerprint on the ignition sensor, please?" Reluctantly, Juliana leaned in and placed her manicured finger on the sensor. The car remained silent. "Humph," she muttered. "What now?" Alex examined her hand. "Your nail might be interfering. Let me adjust it." Gently, he guided her finger to the correct position. The car roared to life, its engine purring smoothly. Juliana stared at the car, then at Alex. "So, you're telling me this was the problem? Or did you do something else?" Alex gave a small smile. You were here with me. You can testify that I didn't do anything other than adjust your finger. For a moment, she said nothing. Then her expression shifted, the corners of her mouth twitching as though she were suppressing a smile. Maybe what you should say is, I'm sorry for the way I spoke about your company. And Alex said, you could also apologize for the way you spoke to me. Juliana raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. You're more concerned about the company than yourself. Normal people would have demanded a personal apology first, but you're all about defending your employer. You're quite a dedicated staff. Alex shrugged. Everyone has their choices. This is mine. Juliana tilted her head, studying him. How old are you? He hesitated. Why do you ask? It doesn't matter, she said quickly. What if I offered you a job? I'll pay you $50,000 for 3 months, and you can still keep your current job. What do you think? What kind of job? Alex asked cautiously. Juliana smirked. Let's get married for 3 months. After that, we break up and you get your payment. Don't ask too many questions. It's better for you. Just think about what $50,000 could do for you. It could help you start your own business. A contract marriage? Alex asked, his brows furrowing. What if you refuse to pay? I never break a contract, she said, slipping a complimentary card into the pocket of his work uniform. When you change your mind, let me know. And with that, she turned on her heels and walked back into her house, leaving Alex standing in the driveway with a card in his pocket and a storm of thoughts in his mind. Alex spent the rest of the day distracted. Every time he tried to focus on his work, Juliana's words echoed in his mind. Let's get married for 3 months. Think about what $50,000 could do for you. By the time the workshop closed for the day, his mind was racing with possibilities. As he drove home in his old car, the question gnawed at him. He decided he needed a second opinion. Once he reached his modest apartment, Alex dropped his tool bag by the door and grabbed his phone. He dialed Jude, his best friend since college. Hey man, Jude answered, his voice full of energy. Long day. Yeah, same old, Alex replied, leaning back on the couch. How about you? Busy as ever, but you know me, no complaints. What's up? Alex hesitated, then blurted, I've got a question for you. It's hypothetical. Shoot. If someone offered you $50,000 to marry them for 3 months, would you do it? There was a pause. Then Jude erupted in laughter. What kind of question is that? Are you writing a book or something? Just answer the question, Alex said, his tone firmer now. If you found yourself in that situation, what would you do? Jude said, the humor fading from his voice. Honestly, 50 grand for 3 months? That's a small amount for something that big. But if it were $100,000, maybe I'd consider it. I'd probably have to beg my girlfriend to let me pull it off, though. Alex chuckled faintly. So you do it for the right price? Yeah, man, if it's a life changer. But why are you asking? Someone actually offered you something like this? Alex stiffened, his mind scrambling for an answer. No, he lied quickly. It came up at the workshop today. One of the guys was joking about it, and it got me thinking. Jude laughed again. Well, you're right about one thing. Crazy stuff happens in love. Anyway, enough of this weird talk. Let's catch up soon, yeah? Yeah, Alex said absently. Take care. After they hung up, Alex sat in the silence of his apartment, staring at the complimentary card Juliana had given him. Her name and number were printed in sleek gold lettering, the edges of the card sharp and pristine, much like the woman herself. Should I do it or not? He muttered aloud. He leaned back, rubbing his temples as thoughts swirled in his mind. What would his parents think? They had always emphasized integrity and self-respect. Would this cross a line for them? And then there was Lucy, his girlfriend of 2 years, the woman he had been saving to build a future with. Would she even understand? He could already hear her fiery response in his mind. What kind of man marries another woman for money? But the money, it wasn't just a fleeting temptation. It was a lifeline. With $50,000, he could pay off his student loans and start his own workshop. His dream of owning a garage could finally become a reality. He wouldn't be stuck under someone else's thumb forever. I need this money, he thought. This is my chance to turn my life around. But what if it costs me everything I already have? The card seemed to taunt him, its golden letters gleaming under the soft light of his living room. Alex sighed deeply and reached for his phone. If he was going to consider this, he had to tell Lucy. He hesitated as his thumb hovered over her name in his contacts. What if she didn't understand? What if she walked away? With a deep breath, he tapped her name and held the phone to his ear. It rang once, twice, 3 times before Lucy's warm, familiar voice came through. "Hello, honey," she said cheerfully. Alex's heart pounded as he tried to form the words.